Hello, welcome to another section in further mathematics. Today we'll be discussing about statics, but before we proceed, I would like us to do a quick review of our previous lesson. Welcome back. What is statics? Statics is the study of bodies which remain at rest under the action of a given force. That is, you're talking about a situation whereby if this is a cup, a force will be acting on this cup, a force is acting on this cup, a force is acting on this cup, and a force is acting on this cup. Now, as a result of 4 forces acting on this cup, now the cup will be at rest. Instead of moving to this direction, other forces will help to stabilize it. So that is how statics works. Statics talks about bodies that are not in motion, but as a result, they are being at rest. It's as a result of different forces acting on them. So it's a study of a body being before we talk about statics, there are things we really need to discuss that will be of importance to us, and this we talk about the mass. This is the quantity of matter contained in a body. So the mass of a particular body does not change, and the standard unit is kilogram. So the mass of a body does not change at a given point in time. Now, what is force? Force is the action which tends to change a state of rest or uniform motion of a body in a straight line. That is to say, we are trying to make you understand now that without force, nothing will move. If you stand at the point, you can stand till the day that you are tired of standing, except you have an influence from air resistance or gravity acting on you that will make you to be a bit exhausted and you fall out. And that is also an action of a force. Now, when you talk of that, you said force is just like we were talking about, is a vector quantity since it had magnitude and direction. And the unit of force is Newton, where mass is equals to acceleration. Now, according to Newton's second law, where he stated that the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the applied force and takes effect in the direction of force. So we ended up stating that F is equal to ma, where m is the mass and a is the acceleration. So when you talk about composite forces, 2 or more concurrent forces can combine to obtain a single force. Therefore, resultant force is the force produced or obtained when 2 or more concurrent forces are combined. So a force can be resolved by graphical method or analytical method. But when you're talking about the graphical method, is the use of graphs, shape. Mostly we use the parallelogram in resolving force into horizontal and vertical components. We can also make use of the analytical pattern that have to do with the law of composition of different forces. So for this reason, I'd like us to see now, look at what we have here. We can call this point the A point and call this point the B point. And these forces can be resolved. The resultant of this force can be termed R, which is this point. And the angle between them can be called theta, or you can call it alpha. The angle between this and this. But note that the angle here, let me say it is 120, is equivalent to the angle at this point, because this is a parallelogram. And the opposite sides, the opposite angle of a parallelogram, that's here and here, are said to be equal. And with this, we can use it to analyze some components of forces. So, for example, let's deal with what we have in front of us. The angle between 2 forces of magnitude 8 Newton. So, we are to place the 8 Newton at this point, and 5 Newton. These are the 2 forces. This and this with the direction is 120. So this angle is 120. But remember, there's a line here. So if it's 120, that's to say here is 120, and this point is 60, while here is 5. So our point of interest is 5, 8, and 60. So since the angle between them is 120, find n, the magnitude of their resultant. So our value of n becomes the magnitude of resultant. Now we want to apply the cosine rule that says n square is equal to, because this is facing this, is equal to 8 square plus 5 square minus 2 times 8 times 5, then cos, what's the angle here? 60, this point. So we now have a total number of 64 plus 25 minus 2, okay, 5 times 8 is 40 times 2, that is 80, cos 60 is equal to half. So we now have 25 plus 64 is 89. 89 minus 80 times half is 40. So our n square is equal to 49. So the value of our n is square root of 49, which is equal to 7. So with this, the magnitude of the resultant is equal to 7 Newton. I would like to say a very big thank you for being part of today's lesson. But in order for you to have a better knowledge on what we just discussed, do well to attempt the test that will be coming up shortly in front of your screen. And always make sure you consult this platform for better understanding on the topic we've just discussed. Thank you, and see you in our next lesson.